Viney Kapoor Mehra ma'am. Her qualification is LLM, PhD, MA, CWED. She is a founder, Vice Chancellor of Dr. Baba Saheb B.R. Ambedkar National Law University, Sonpet. Commissioner, State Information Commissioner, Punjab. Also, she has held the position of Dean, Law Faculty, IKG, Punjab Technical University, Jalandhar. Also, she has headed Department of Law, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar. She was also member of Syndicate Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, Senator of Guru Nanak Dev University for 2 terms. At central government level, she has been the member of National as well as Executive Committee of Government of India to celebrate 350th birthday of Guru Gobind Singh way back in the year 2016 and 17. She is also member of Constitutional Review Committee of Government of India 2002, member core committee of NHRC 2020 onwards, life member of Indian Law Institute. At state level, she was the member of the committee to draft Higher Education Council Act of Government of Punjab way back in the year 2015 and 16. Member committee to celebrate 150th birthday anniversary of Swami Vivekanand, Government of Punjab way back in the year 2012-14. Member Jubilant Justice Board, Ministry of Child and Women Empowerment, Government of Punjab for 2 terms, that is for 2011 to 14 and 2014 to 17. She is also member of Autonomy Review Committee of UGC on the panel of NAC of Assessment and Accreditation of Higher Education Institution, member court Governing Council BPS Kanpur University, Haryana, then member Advisory Board Integrated Association of Medical Basis and Social Scientists 2020, then member Planning and Advisory Board of DS National Law University, Visakhapatnam 2021, then member Board of Studies for Mahashri Makra Deshwar University 2019 onwards, and member code of BPS Mahila Vishwavidyalaya Kanpur Soyanpet, then also member advisory board Lucknow University, then member advisory board of PGI-EMR on editorial board of CPJ Law Journal, honorary member of academic advisory board of Geeta Institute of Law, Geeta University, Panipat, then member advisory board of Department of Political Science, Meerut University, then member advisory board council of Maharaja Swajamal University, Bharatpur. On the academic side, Professor Mrs. Viney Kapoor Mehra has her master in law way back in the year 1986 and PhD in 1998. She was a recipient of postdoctorate fellow of UGC and also post-graduation in police administration. She is authority on women study. She has authored 2 books and several published research articles to her credit. As a keynote speaker at seminars, synonyms, conferences, she enjoys honor of being a chief guest and guest of honor at various academic associations. So indeed, it is really an honor and pleasure for all of us to have her here as a resource person in this NEP sensitization program, which is being organized by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, Maharashtra. I welcome you, ma'am, to this session of this NEP sensitization program, and I would now hand over the session to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am.
So, am I audible properly?
Yes, you're audible, ma'am.
Okay. So, respected director, sir, assistant director, Professor Rafi, participants from teaching faculty from far off area of the country. So we are to discuss today academic leadership, governance and management. Now, academic leadership is somewhat different from the ordinary leadership. So by leader, generally in common parlance, we mean that a person who has lot of following, and influence a large chunk of people in the public. He has some charismatic personality. He has a very good power to speak and influence by his speech. Educational leadership is somewhat different. No doubt, some of these qualities are also required in an educational leader. We see that, firstly, what is the purpose of education in Indian context? From Vedic period, you can say from the Gurukuls, the emphasis in the Indian culture has been the overall development of a person, personality development. So we can say the primary aim of education in the Indian context has been integrated education. By integrated education, we mean that there is development of body, mind, and soul. So this leads to the holistic development of the person or the individual. Education has been a journey. It's not just passing of few classes and get the degrees and then our work is over. It's a journey throughout our life. And we learn. We learn throughout, we are students throughout. Even if we become the professor, we become the vice chancellor, or the principal or director, we are students. If we have this spirit to learn, only then we can be a good leader. Because unless we imbibe all those qualities in ourselves, we can't encourage others to follow us. So this is one of the basic quality of an educational leader. Now, new education policy, if we see in the context of new education policy, what is the aim of education? Again, the focus has been on the holistic development of the student. Some call it Panchkoshiya Shiksha. So for all levels, at the level of mind, at the level of intellect, at the level of emotions, the level of spiritual. So on all 5 levels, there should be a development of the individual. Why we need this? Because we have seen that even after passing so many degrees, even to become a doctor or an IAS, our individual commits suicide. That means he is not mentally strong. So we need the persons who are physically, mentally, and spiritually strong. And this has been our aim throughout our ancient educational system. Now, there was a time period that we changed, or rather we have transformed all of our system, and the result we are perceiving today, that our students are not emotionally well connected with the parents, with the students, with the society, with the nation. If we go to the old age homes, we find that the person belonging to the very high caste are there. It's that state of society where the children are well educated, but they are not owning their parents. So this means we have not made our students capable by the present educational system. So there is a requirement that we the teachers, have to be the leaders. Leaders in the sense that we should be physically, mentally, spiritually strong so that we can be the role model for our students. Now, in the words of Swami Vivekananda, education is manifestations of our inner self. So we have such potential, only there is a need to promote that potential, to make the person curious, to know more and more. Now, there is a why there is a need for educational leaders. Firstly, we have to ask this question: what is the need? We have other political leaders, social leaders, spiritual leaders. Then why there is a need for the educational leaders? You see, now the war is not with the weapons alone. We can have a edge over the other countries if we have intellectuals, Bauddhik Yoda, which we call. So that war of AI or intellectual property or the patents, we need educational leaders. Now, NEP aims at, the primary focus of the NEP is to make India knowledge power, hub of the knowledge, which we were earlier. We had universities which were world-class universities. We remember few names today: Nalanda, Takshila, Vikramshila. But there were so many universities where the students from different countries, from east, west, north, south of the world, come to the India to have that knowledge. Now today, we perceive that knowledge is just to remember certain facts and deliver that in examination, and we are knowledgeable. Knowledge can be the formal or informal. What we are getting in school, colleges, universities is the formal knowledge or formal education, where the limit of the syllabus is prescribed. And most of us don't go beyond that jurisdiction. We confine ourselves within that jurisdiction. Whereas informal education is, which daily, from the morning till night, we get from different sources, from animals, from nature, and from other persons who are not actually teachers, but they had a skill in themselves. You see, if there, he has a skill. So we learn from him how he hypnotized the person. Now in the classroom, sometimes there is an occasion, then we have to hypnotize our students. Otherwise, they don't listen to us. So from where we have learned this quality? Not from the books. It's not a bookish knowledge. So it's an informal knowledge. And presently, we require that we should go beyond the syllabus. Sometimes teacher also want to disclose certain facts to the student, but students are not interested because they say, no, this is not in our syllabus, so we are not ready to listen to this part of the things which you are delivering. In that case, our educational leader becomes helpless. Every teacher is an educational leader. It's not only the principal or the director or the vice chancellor is the leader. A teacher is also an educational leader, though his influence may be confined to the classroom only. But if he desires, his influence can be beyond the classroom. This part is required in every teacher, that how they can influence others with their knowledge and with their potential. We know that a principal has an influence throughout all the college, and teacher thinks he is confined to. But with the other activities, and you see that in our new education policy, there is a great emphasis on the extracurricular activities. There was a time where it was considered that it's not necessary, just confined to the your syllabus and gets more and more marks from that only. Now we see that now the emphasis also on the, because these are the activities, maybe sports, maybe yoga, maybe NSS, maybe NCC, through which we develop the personality of our students. So if a teacher engage himself in these activities, so his influence is beyond his or her classroom. I'm lucky that I got the opportunity in my institution, and I serve the nation through these activities of NSS and NCC. And I feel that the students get connected and they listen to us. If they are not listening to us in the classroom, maybe we are a very good teacher. Sometimes they don't listen to us, but beyond the classroom, through these activities, they become more closer to the teacher and they try to follow that teacher. I happily announce here that many of my students who was with me for 4 years in NSS activities, now they are NSS program officers in their own institutions, whether they are in a college or in a school or in the university. And they always call me back and tell me that, ma'am, we have organized this thing which we have learned from you during that 1-day program or 10-day program. So this gives me great happiness to a teacher if his or her students follow him. So that is the one of the our quality of educational leader, that the students follow him. Just not pass the examinations. They just not get the degree. Now see that if we want that India to grow to that extent of Nalanda, Vikramshila and Takshila, we need educational leaders. We need scholars of that type who have devoted their lives, for the promotion of knowledge. They were not engaged in a 8 hours job or 4 hours periods only. They have spent their whole life, and means their PhD was not for 2 or 3 years. They got PhD for their life. They have submitted their life for the society and the nation, and they evolved one new idea. We need such type of educational leaders even today. Tapo moolam hi sadhanam. Tap means we have to devote ourselves to get some goal. Tapo moolam hi. So Is the base of the sadhana goal. So we have to be 24-hour a teacher, not a teacher just for 8 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours. So if we keep this thing in mind, we are really an educational leaders. Now such leaders are required from the primary level up to the higher education at every stage. It's not only that we need the people of professor level to be the educational leaders. We require educational leaders at every stage. Primary, secondary, high secondary, then higher education. Who could be a good researcher, good scholars, and overall good human beings. So these educational leaders should have the human values, which can be spiritual or moral. I classify values in two categories, spiritual as well as spiritual is when we connect ourselves with the nature. And in our actions, we are so devoted to the nature and it is reflected in our behavior also. Now today we see that whenever we go to some program, as a gift we got plants instead of bouquet. It's a very good practice. So that bouquet got decay after 1 or 2 days, but the plant, which we will be, and we also can get connected with that plant and through the plant with the universe. Because we know that we all are one. So yat pinde tat brahmande. So everybody has those 5 elements which is in the universe. So we got connected through those plants with the nature also. So if we remember, if we have studied the life of Madan Mohan Malviya ji, he was connected with the nature, he was connected with the society, and to each human being, whether of whatever caste or class he was. So he wanted that each downtrodden should be well educated and should be well sufficient, self-sufficient, so that the country should be self-reliant. Today we read the slogans that the country should be self-reliant. How country can become self-reliant? It's only when the individuals here, they are self-sufficient. So it is the duty of the educational leaders to create curiosity in the pupils, the students, that they want to learn more and more. They want to be more inquisitive. Mostly it happens that in a classroom, whenever a student raises an inquiry, we snub them. Usually most of the teachers, what they say that ask me later on. And that later never comes. The real practice should be that we should invoke the student to raise more and more questions. And through that process, which is a dialogue system, which is a discussion system, and not a one-way system where one is delivering the things and other are just noting down. We have to change that pattern too. So as educational leaders, we have to change the pedagogy of delivery. We have to change the methodology of delivering the lectures so that everyone in the classroom is involved in that process and giving the input. So if we are discussing any topic, each one may be having its own ideas, and we can learn from each other. So through this process, we can develop, we can enhance the curriculum. Now, we see that educational leaders have to be a lighthouses. Apo Deepo Bhav. So source of energy, source of light, source of encouragement. It comes from the educational leader. So whether it's a governing body, whether it's the management, a true educational leader can give the best of his potential to the institution and ultimately to the society and the nation. So what is required from an educational leader is, the first thing is vision. What is his vision? Vision. Educational leader must have a vision. Simply having a position is not enough. Am I audible now? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Someone saying that I am not audible?
No, no, ma'am.
Okay.
Please continue.
No,
Audible,
ma'am,
ma'am.
you are audible.
Okay. So vision is required if the person perceive that he's not just holding a position, but he is an institution in himself. He has to develop the curriculum. He has to develop the infrastructure. He has to develop the potential of the other colleagues. He has to encourage the students. This much vision he requires. Simply being a principal is not enough today. So if you say that person is a really educational leader, he has to think from all angles. So a visionary person is required, and that visionary person we usually follow. In our life, we have got such teachers, such gurus who have impressed us. We must have got some qualities from one teacher and other quality from the other. I know that the college where I studied, the founder principal was there at that time. She started the college from one room. But within 3-4 years, the college became one of the best college of that city. So it was the vision of that lady, that principal, that she could manage. Otherwise, what we see that we just spend our times, we have got this assignment for 3 years or for 5 years, and we have to enjoy it. So that criteria of enjoyment is different for an educational leader. He gets enjoyment in the work itself. Work is worship for the educational leaders. So for the whole day, whole night, there must be some dream, and dream is how to raise the level of that institution where he is the head, or how to raise the level of my students or my subject. I already told that each teacher is an educational leader. It's not only the director of the institution or the principal or the other managerial staff who are also taking the decision about the institution. A teacher is also a leader for that institution, provided he is aware about his or her role, and he also participates in that functioning. Now we say that what are the types of the leadership, of educational leadership? It may be reflected in 5 types. Firstly, instructional leadership, structural leadership, where the focus of the head of the institution has been how to improve the infrastructure, how to improve the curriculum and the pedagogy, delivery of the system of the education, and also encourages others. Now, I remember some of the VCs who used to take classes in the universities. Normally, it is thought that the person who has become VC need not to take the classes. I think it gave me satisfaction, and also I can set an example for us. For others, those who are having such positions like dean and directors. After getting that position, we think that now our work as a teacher is now closed or it is subsides. So those vice chancellor, you can say that must have been instructional leaders. Now, moral leadership. Every person has good qualities as well as bad qualities. It's how we impact others with our good qualities. What are our values? What are our beliefs? I may believe in one God, but I have a respect for all others, all other path of worship. So that spiritual leadership I am possessing is at a very high level, because ultimate aim of every human being is to attain salvation. In Gita, Lord Krishna says there are 3 ways for salvation: Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Karam Yoga. We, the teachers, are involved in all 3 yogas. So when we are doing our duty sincerely as a teacher, so we are doing our karma. We are doing our Karam Yoga. And Gyan, when we are really imparting the knowledge. And we know that how many of us prepare lectures before going to the classroom. And if we are not prepared, the students can judge and they will not give attention to our lecture. Yes. Transformational leadership is also there. I was coming to that point. That total transformation. We say that principal came and he transformed the whole college. That vice chancellor came, he transformed the whole of the university. So culture, work culture is being changed. Everybody thinks that it's my duty and come forward to take initiative. This is just because of that culture which has been created in that institution. Because at head of the institution, we call educational leader, has those potential. He always initiated. I have seen many of my teachers while they were going to the classroom, if they find any paper on the ground, they used to pick it. They never call a student to come and pick that paper. And we know that the students, they imbibe the values. We cannot infuse the values through any injection or through any other process. student caught the values and they imbibe them. And in the true sense, a teacher or a guru has that potential. That clear participative leadership. It's not that what I am saying is right. When head of the institution involves all others, take their inputs. So taking of inputs is not sufficient if we are not implementing their inputs. We are just listening and then we are saying, no, this suggestion is not good. Then it's not a participative leadership. When we listen to others and we give weightage to their suggestions, and such leadership takes the institution to its heights. Because everybody feels a connectivity with the institution. They give their 100% to the institution. Their involvement is 100%. Now, managerial leadership, that we have to manage the things. Management. Managerial qualities, how we manage our resources, human resource as well as other resources. We know that every institution has limited resources. Many of the institutions even don't get the grants from the UGC or from the government. Now it is up to the leader of that institution how we raise the resources. Now we see that there is CSR. Every company has a good resource. We can tap those resources. And this can be possible through our human resource, and that is our alumni. When we go to the NAC inspections, we always see that the institution where the alumni have been involved, those institutions become self-sufficient. Because every student owes something to the teachers, to the institution, and wants to repay. If he is reached to the height of what he wants to be in the life, then ultimately, but what is required on his part is that he wants some type of recognition, that the institution must invite him, and he is ready to give all what he can do for that institution. So we can manage the resources. The management quality is also required in an educational leader. And then the contingency. There are sometimes unforeseen circumstances which we should be ready to. We should not be boggled with those situations. And we know how we have faced Corona. We have immediately switched to the online system. When we became the leaders, even many countries could not follow that pattern which we in India has done. No doubt, face-to-face teaching has its own impact, and that is better than the online teaching. But the thing is, we have not wasted our single second, and we immediately switched to that mode which was requirement of that time. So unforeseen circumstances, we never plan some things but happened. We have to be, and if we are capable enough, to take our team along with us. Because success is always a teamwork. How many things one can perform with two hands? I used to say how many competent brigadier he needs some soldier who he can deploy on all the corners. So success is always a teamwork. So educational leader should have a spirit to work in a team, to take his team along with that potential, and also encourage his colleagues as well as the students from time to time. Because we know that this is the time where everybody is looking to India, and even Indian also wants India to be at the top in the world. So for that, the educational leaders should be involved in good research. Presently, the research which we are doing is just a cut and paste system. No good results are coming out of those research. More than 1,000 universities are there in the country, and almost more than 20,000 colleges are there. And around 4 crores of the students are taking education in those colleges and universities. But the result which is being shown in the Global Innovation Index, that India ranks at the 50th place in the matter of research. So why? Why the country, which was a knowledge hub once, can't we be again on that place? We have to take the commitment from ourselves. Everyone has to be the educational leader. Now the thing is that innovation, that creativity has to be developed from the child. It's not possible that throughout you snub the students and all of a sudden you say that at PhD you create something new, give new ideas, gives new suggestions, when we have already blocked his mind. So it is said, catch them young. So research should be from the primary level. So whatever new question is being raised by the student, we have to own it. We have to satisfy his query. Jigyasa. We have to make him jigyasu, curious. Only then we can say that we can have a innovators at the later stage. There has been a culture in our ancient education system which was called dialogue, samvad. There was a process of samvad, vad, vivad, samvad, tark, vitark. And the scholars from all over the world used to assemble at one place, and then they shared their ideas, and from that manthan, new things were evolved, which were useful for the whole of the humanity. We had Sharda Peeth in Jammu and Kashmir, where Shankaracharya ji from Kerala traveled, and he had a dialogue with Mandan Mishra. That is a separate story, but we know that we had a culture of, but that should be a culture of dialogue and not simply a controversial tark vitark. The purpose should be clear in our mind, but we want to create out of that discussion or out of that dialogue. That mission, that aim is clear. Like Swami Vivekananda. He was clear that he has to establish the glory of the country once again in the world, and has to establish India as a spiritual guru, and he did that. So each one of us can be Chanakya, because if we want to make a country as a knowledge hub, we have to be like Chanakya, who raised a huge Maurya empire through Chandragupta Maurya. We have to be Samarth Guru Ramdas, who raised Shiva, who established Hindutva. Or we have to be Ram Krishna Paramhans, who developed a student like Vivekananda, who established all the principles of Vedantas, and also for the humanity, that all humans are equal, all paths are same. As all rivers goes to the ocean, ultimately all the faiths go to one God. That is the basic Indian culture, Indian religions. Now we have to see that a child is not a machine or a robot where we can infuse certain programs and that will work. Each child is unique, no? And every one of us who wants to be the educational leader must find out that skills in each child. Because skill development is also one of the, you can say, thing which our new education policy is focusing. Skill, mental skill, or cultural skill, or emotional skill, all other skills. Our Shastras talks about 64 skills. And it is said that Lord Krishna had all those 64 skills. The teacher has to find the skill in each student. Only then he can persuade him in the right direction. Otherwise, after doing MBBS, our student sit in the IAS exam. Or after doing BTech, MTech, they shift to the other system and they are not focused on the research. After doing even PhD, they may be doing the business. So they are not focused because they could not get the right direction at the right time. So like Dronacharya, the teacher, the educational leader have to see which child has a potential to be the Arjun, which child has a potential to be a perfect in a Gada or Malle Yuddha. So we have to find out the potential in the child and then persuade him to develop those skills. Because ultimately, if the child knows what his capabilities, his weaknesses and strength, he can be successful in the life. He can never fail. And it is the duty of the teacher. Now we see that in this scenario, when we say that the students, they are not listening to us, they're not listening to us. Of course, they listen if we give them something new. The students comes to the class to that teacher where they know that they will be getting something new, some knowledge will be given. If they know that whatever teacher is going to tell is already in the YouTube or in the book itself, nothing new is to be given, he will never come to the classroom. So first thing is how we can attract our public, and our public is our student. If they come to our class only, then we can give them certain values, certain beliefs which we are having. So if a person is clear about his vision, so only then he can be successful in implementing his ideas and beliefs. Now we see that as a educator, we have a public dealing too. We say that sometimes they destroy the public property, the schools, just because of the institution. Public is also part of the institution. One must have this idea in the mind. The children or students, they are coming from the public, and that public is at our disposal. Make the transformation. And we know that all the revolution in the world were through the teachers or the philosopher, what we call. We can transform the whole society. So we must not forget that the students which are at our disposal, their parents have a lot of faith in us. They have sent their students to us. And that child, he may not believe his parents. He has a lot of belief in the teacher. Provided the teacher has maintained his integrity. The teacher has that potential and he always active to raise his potential. Because if we stop growing, we start decaying. Or we start decreasing. It's also the principle of economics. Those who have studied economics will endorse that when the curve is going up and it stops, it will stop for a while only. Then it will start decreasing. It will have a downfall. So it is true with every human being. So we will be indulged in reading good books from which we can get new ideas, which we can share with others. We should indulge in good quality research, because without research or without innovations, new ideas, we cannot flourish. You know, the success of Chandrayaan-3, many more engineers and our scientists had worked day and night for that. They had a mission and they were clear about that mission and they were successful. And if we want that our students should be successful at all levels, we will have to be on our toes. We can't take rest. There will be, you can say, luring things in a way, but we have to work. And we have to be like our forefathers were the true gurus. If we give a lot of importance to Lord Rama, it was just because of his Guru Vashishta, who has developed him all the qualities of a good human being. So likewise, all great men owe their greatness to their gurus. Swami Vivekananda said at one time that what I am today is just because of my Guru Ramakrishna Paramhans. He was a living incarnation of God, it is said by many, because he believed in humanity, welfare of all. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्त. सबके कल्याण में अपना कल्याण. तो पंजाब में भी हम कहते हैं सर्वत्र भला. तो सबकी भलाई में हमारी भलाई भी निहित होती है, हमारी भलाई भी छुपी होती है. Now we know that today everybody is talking about artificial intelligence, and education will also be influenced by this artificial intelligence. How much we are prepared to take that challenge? As we have taken the challenge during the Corona period, we have to be. Now, technology is to be used judiciously. In this way, we have to tell our students that technology cannot be our master. Technology is the slave of the human beings, because human beings have created that technology. And we can never let that technology rule us. If that technology start ruling us, then that will be, you can say, the last day of humanity. It is good that we can take the help of Chat GPT in our research work or in our preparing our lectures. But how much? How much is required? Because human brain has lot of potential which cannot be measured. We have never tapped our potential. This we will have to tell our students too, that we have lot of potential and that potential has to be tapped, and these gadgets are our slaves. We are to use it judiciously. Now we have seen that most of the countries, the patents have been in great number. China is on the top. So then come USA. And we are very low pedestal. So when the India was not free, we got the Nobel prizes. We got the innovative ideas. What happened now? Where is our creativity has gone? Either we are not working in true spirit, we are not working with the team spirit, because each human being has certain weaknesses, certain strengths. But if we collaborate our energies, our potential, so then we can make wonders. That's why UGC now focusing on interdisciplinary research. Interdisciplinary research, when the people with different subjects, with different domain can collaborate their energies, their sources, and then come with the good results of their innovative ideas. Again, as educational leaders, where we have to see that we should manage our resources, we have to manage our time. Each second is important. And we see that many a times our teachers don't go to the classes. They just mark the students present. I had such experience in one of the institution. The students were told not to come in the class, and when their higher authority inquired, they said that the students are not coming up, that's why the classes are not being taken. Now, this is also one type of corruption. That for the work which we are being paid, we are not doing that work. We have to stop this practice. Now we also have to stop the favoritism. Now many a time, a researcher is not a good, but he is a very good servant of his guide. And guide wants him to be at the top. So he do all the manipulation to get that person employed in some good work. We should stop this favoritism. Otherwise, the meritorious people will not come to the top. And it will happen that this brain drain will continue. You know that every year, thousands of students go to the other countries because they know that their talent is not being recognized in the country. This is a very sorry affair of. And many a time we say that we teachers are responsible. We can make, we can mar. But when we don't understand our responsibility towards the country and toward the nation, we don't only spoil the career of one student, but we spoil the society. So you know that how much importance is of the educational leader as compared to the social and spiritual leaders. कहते हैं कि अगर कोई इंजीनियर गलती करता है तो उस गलती से अगर पुल टूट जाता है, the bridge is broken, there will be loss of few crores. If a doctor commits a mistake, lives of you may be gone. But if a teacher commits mistakes, the centuries have to pay. A single mistake of the teacher can be which the centuries, the generations have to pay. So we must understand our responsibilities and we must be true to our duty. And we know that we, the teacher, can make the social reform too. We are social reformers too. Presently, we say that there are so many social problems in the country. We are still facing female feticides, dowry, caste system. The educational leaders can come forward to solve this problem. As I already told you that every year, almost 100 students, rather we say 100 families are at our disposal. And our one idea can bring the change in their lives. For this, there must be no difference between our action and our words. So if we don't sincere to our actions, our words have no impact, no influence on others. So हमारी कथनी और करनी एक होनी चाहिए, तभी तो हमारे स्टूडेंट हमसे प्रभावित होंगे. And they can. You will be surprised to know that when it was 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, I got few of my students treated with the sayings of Swami Vivekananda. I gave them few books to read, and they were out of that anxiety. One of them has gave up his habit of drinking. The words have lot of impact, provided those words are sincerely taken. Now, when I was quite small, I was told a story by somebody that a lady taken the child to a spiritual guru and said, Guruji, he is taking too much of sugar. Please ask him to stop taking sugar. That spiritual guru asked the lady to come after few days. And after a few days, when she came again along with the child, he told, Beta, don't take too much sugar. It's a bad for health. The lady asked that, Swamiji, you could have asked this thing when I came to you for the first time. Why don't you told at that time these few words? Why you have called me again? He said at that time, I too myself was taking too much sugar. So firstly, I had to control myself so that my words could have impact on the person to whom I am giving the guidance or advice. Now, sometimes, that human mind has a lot of impact by the words. Now, there are few students who are very, very emotional. We have to be careful. So, educational leaders have to be a psychologist. He has to understand the psychology of the students. We know that sometimes a child will stop doing the noise in the class simply if we stare at him, or simply we call his or her name. Other time we'll have to scold somebody else who is not taken by those actions. There are few which have to be scolded many times before they stop they're doing the nonsense in the class. So each child is different. Each child, we have to know we have to know the potential of the child, and only then we can make best of the student, best of the citizen. You see that we just let the child cram the things and then he repeats the same because he has not taken the things by heart. I used to go in some school and I find that the teacher was reciting the poem. Bits of paper lying on the ground makes the place untidy, pick them up. And the children also recited those poems. After a few minutes, I said one of the child came out of the class and was having his notebook. He teared that notebook and spread all the papers on the ground. So what is the fun of such type of education? I could not understand. We have to make the things more and more practical. At present, we are more and more theoretical. And everybody just reciting the things, but not grasping it. The true spirit of the thing with which that is being given. We read the story, we read the poem, but we are not taking the exact meaning, why that is being given to us, why that particular story has been included in the syllabus. As a student of law, I sometimes used to ask the question from myself, what is the need of this law? Why we have passed so many laws when the people are not obeying these laws? What is the fun of making so many legislations? So it means that we are not being involved in the process of lawmaking. That's why we don't get attached to that particular law. If we are involved, and I have experienced that before this new education policy was to be framed, there have been a lot of seminars, discussions in the schools, in the kids, at the societies level, and the inputs were taken from the various part of the various sections of the society. So we feel somewhere involved with this education policy that we have some input in this policy. That's why now the government has passed the policy, but the whole responsibility for the implementation of this NEP is on the shoulders of educational leaders. That we have to make it reality. All the aims and mission of this policy has to be implemented by this educational motivators. It focuses on the skill development. It is focusing on the holistic development. We have to understand the various aspects. It also talks about the education in the mother tongue. And we know that UNESCO has long ago has given the statement that if the child is given knowledge in his own mother tongue, his mind is more active. And scientists say that 70% of the brain is developed in the first 3 years of the age of the child. And first 3 years, we have to give them full freedom. We have to develop his cognitive capacities. We should not impose the things on him. His mind is growing and the rest of 30% is grown in the next 3 years. And what we do is that in those early stages, we need more and more information in the mind of the child. And that too in the language which is not close to his mind and heart. That's why his inquisitiveness, curiosity is not developed. I remember while reading Abdul Kalam, at one page, I was see that he said that I could understand science and maths easily because it was taught to me in my mother tongue. And his mother tongue was, we know that, Tamil. So he was taught science and maths in his own mother tongue. So we have to say that the child should be comfortable in the language he is being taught. He can learn many languages. This is our potential of the mind of the person. But the initial education, the preliminary education has to be in his mother tongue. Now, in some of the institutions, they impose that only one language should be there and child should talk in that particular language. Otherwise, he is fined. We are doing great torture to that child. He is made to understand in that particular language he is not grasping by heart. I'm not against any language, but the thing is the child should be conversant with that language. Only then he can learn the thing easily. His mind flourishes. He can have new ideas, new innovations. So we educational leaders should also understand. Now the time has come when we have to transform ourselves. If we want to transform our educational system and ultimately to transform our society and the nation, and we want to grow, we want to be the knowledge hub, so we have to give our best. कहते हैं ना क्या जो हवन या यज्ञ हो चुका है हम कितनी उसमें आहुति डालते हैं हम contribution in terms of time, in terms of energy, how much we are into and how much we are sincere to our duty as an individual, duty as a citizen, our duty as a children of this motherland. Now, I remember few, because I used to read a lot of about Vivekananda, so many times I used to quote his sayings. So that he said that I'm seeing motherland, India is growing, is awakening from the slums, is awakening from the palaces, is awakening from all sides. And again, once again, it's becoming the Vishwa Guru. I think that dream is going to be true with the efforts of all educational leaders. We have to understand our potential. We have a lot of potentials. All of us are just like Chanakya, are just like Smart Guru Ramdas, just like Dronacharya. And we can make many more Arjuna, many Vivekanand, many Shivas, many. Once we understand our potential, we become the real leaders. Leaders in the sense that we have a vision, and our vision is clear that we are working for the service of humanity, त्याग or seva. This is the true pillars where the whole Indian culture is working throughout the centuries. Teachings of any spiritual guru, we find these two basic principles which each human being must know and must adapt. I think that there is a need of such time of training sessions where we also revive our potential energies. इसको कहते हैं अवलोकन करना, तो या रिवाइज करना. तो थ्रू दिस हमें भी याद रहता है कि हमारा कर्तव्य देश और समाज के प्रति क्या है. So I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity where I could share my few ideas with all the educational fraternity, all the educational leaders. Already they are doing wonders and can make much more wonders by transforming the lives of thousands through their actions. Thank you for this session. Now we can take the queries or we can continue the discussion. Now one-way dialogue is over because this was the it was allotted time to me.
Participants, you can unmute and you can ask the questions to ma'am. Participants, you can unmute yourself. You have been permitted to unmute yourself. So जिसके भी जो प्रश्न है वो अनम्यूट करे और मैम से सवाल करे.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
I am audible.
Loudly and able to hear you properly. Speak loudly.
Hello.
Some bit.
Yes, madam. हाँ, जैसा अभी आपने बताया कि अपन लैंग्वेज बैरियर जो रहता है बुक्स जो स्टूडेंट को या अपने बच्चों को जो लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश रहती है और पेरेंट्स ज्यादातर इंग्लिश नहीं अपने लोकल लैंग्वेज में वो कन्विंस करना चाहते हैं. तो जैसा अभी ये न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में ऐसा सुन रहा है कि that language, local language will be prepared for the that particular
I think there will be formula of 2 or 3 languages.
Okay.
But for that we have to come forward for the translations because in some of the subjects the books are not available in that vernacular languages. So we should be coming forward to and get ready those books for our students.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Any more questions, participant? Yes, roll number 142.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
This is Dr. Sachin Taide from Washim district of Maharashtra.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am, in NEP, what we are going to observe that the government is giving permissions to open the English medium schools and the NEP that persists on the local languages, the medium of the teaching or instructing, that is in local language. So how these two things can be uh, uh, what we call it, ये कैसे चलेगा मैडम, कि दोनों भी एक साथ कैसे चलेगा? एक तरफ से गवर्नमेंट इंग्लिश कॉन्वेंट स्कूल को परमिशन देती है ओपन होने के लिए, दूसरी तरफ हम एनईपी की बात कर रहे हैं, और हमारे जो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स है वो इस हद तक आ चुके हैं कि वो बंद होने की कगार पर है। तो ये दोनों भी समस्याएं है, इनसे हम एनईपी के माध्यम से कैसे निपट सके?
देखिए, एनईपी इज अ गाइडलाइन, जो करना है हम लोगों को ही करना है। वी हैव टू मेक द पब्लिक अवेयर। अभी जबकि पब्लिक ही अभी तक चाहती है कि इंग्लिश मीडियम में बच्चा पढ़े, क्योंकि सबको ही बाहर जाना है, सबको ही बाहर जाके जॉब ढूंढना है, सबको ही बाहर जाना है हायर एजुकेशन के लिए, एंड एवरीबॉडी वांट्स कि मेरा बच्चा इंग्लिश में परफेक्ट हो। तो जब तक ये मेंटालिटी हमारे पेरेंट्स की चेंज नहीं होती ना, और उसको चेंज करने के लिए हम लोगों को आगे आना पड़ेगा, हमें के लिए उनको मोटिव, बिकॉज through parents teacher meetings, or मेरे का hardly there are few schools where they are actually parents teacher meeting is being done. I think that is a very necessary part of the curriculum, that there should be parents teacher meeting. It's not only the performance of the students has to be discussed, we can discuss many more things, that what changes is required in the curriculum, because there are many things which are wasteless, which are not going to be useful. I don't know that I have studied maths in 10th and it is useful in any later stage the life. So we have made a set pattern of the curriculum and many things, and we are not going to deviate. Even we can't deviate one topic in our syllabus. We think that we have to prepare, हमें तैयार करना पड़ेगा एक नया टॉपिक, और छोड़ो जैसा चल रहा चलने दो। So कोई भी उस चेंज का हिस्सा बनने के लिए जब तक तैयार नहीं होगा, चेंज नहीं आएगा। हम चाहते हैं कि भाई जैसे चल रहा है इजी गोइंग वैसे चलता रहे। तो पेरेंट्स, हम भी पेरेंट्स है ना, हम भी तो चाहते हैं हमारे बच्चे इंग्लिश मीडियम में ही पढ़े, है ना। बहुत कम पेरेंट्स हैं वो जो चाहते हैं कि नहीं वर्नाक्युलर मीडियम में बच्चा पढ़ के ज्यादा अच्छा इंसान बनता है इंस्टेड ऑफ इंग्लिश मीडियम। और ये तो हमारे सबके एक्सपीरियंस से हम कह भी सकते हैं।
ये जो
गवर्नमेंट जो अपना काम करती है उनको करने दें। जो एजुकेशन है वो हमेशा समाज के हाथ में होना चाहिए, ना कि सत्ता के हाथ में। ये जो डिफरेंट बॉडीज है उसमें हमारी इन्वॉल्वमेंट ज्यादा से ज्यादा बढ़े, हमें उसके लिए आवाज उठानी पड़ेगी। Why the bureaucrat should rule us?
ये तो बात कही नहीं की मैडम, पर कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि एजुकेशन कभी आम जनता के हाथ में, आम पब्लिक के हाथ में है, हुआ है? कोई एग्जांपल जो है जो हम बता सकते हैं? Because each and every institute is being, that is handled by the politicians.
Yes, present scenario we say is not very encouraging, but we have to do something, otherwise it's not going to change itself. उसके लिए efforts तो करने पड़ेंगे ना। और हो सकता है रिजल्ट अभी ना दिखाई दें, अंडरकरंट्स बहुत सी चीजें रहती हैं जो ऊपर दिखाई नहीं देती। जब जैसे हम तालाब में एक पत्थर फेंकते हैं तो हमें कुछ ज्यादा हलचल ऊपरी सतह पर दिखाई नहीं देती, लेकिन अंदर उसका जो उस पत्थर का भी जो असर होता है पानी के अंदर वो होता ही है। इसीलिए हम अपने लेवल पे कुछ भी कोई काम करते हैं उसका असर होता है।
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Dr. Basu here. I have a query regarding leadership as in higher education. If you're not a head of department or say head of an institution, just a simple teacher, how do you practice leadership? Because we are bound by so many rules and everything. So could you guide on that?
I told in the beginning, every teacher is educational leader. Every teacher.
You're right, ma'am. I heard that part.
Indeed, he is a commander of his own classroom. All the teachers, all the students are at their disposal. Whatever command she gives, they obey. Out of the classroom, through other activities, like it may be that through
social
NSS
activities.
program,
Yes, ma'am. I remember you had
NCC,
said
some other extracurricular debate society. So many committees, so many societies. We can be
But ma'am, then we are
heading those
bound by the
committees, and through
institution and
that we
heads. Now,
can.
whether we can, sorry, just cutting in between that, how can a teacher, because committee heads are also selected by the heads of the institution. The committees are set up by the heads of the institution or the heads of the department. So faculty heads. So how does a teacher on their own take some initiative? I mean, because if you want, like you said, social transformations, we should all do that. So how do we do that part?
That you have to show your potential, and it can be that a small effort can make a lot of change. You can in your own class make a small committee, and through that you organize the program within the class. It will spread like a fire in the whole institution, and they will know your potential and they will involve you in other activities. You will have to, firstly you have to show your strength, that this is my potential, and if the institution does not recognize my potential, it is the loser, not the me. So firstly, we have to show the strength. I tell you one example from my own life, that in our university, the ladies never, मतलब कभी elections में participate नहीं करती थी, जबरदस्ती कभी एक आध बार किसी एक को member खड़ा कर दिया because there's a dummy members, that was enough. So to me, मेरे पास जब भी आते तो मैं कहते थे लेडीज कहाँ, इतनी लेडीज हैं, और उसका रिजल्ट पता क्या था कि लेडीज को डायरेक्टरशिप, डीनशिप नहीं दी जाती थी यूनिवर्सिटी में. मैंने एक इनिशिएटिव लिया, मैंने कहा ठीक है मुझे सेक्रेटरी लड़ना, मेरे पास आए लोग कि आप खड़े हो जाइए इलेक्शन में. मैंने कहा ठीक है, इधर प्रेसिडेंट और सेक्रेटरी. दे सेड नहीं नहीं मैम, आपको एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है अभी एसोसिएशन का, तो दिस टाइम आप जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी या वाइस प्रेसिडेंट. तो मैंने कहा देखो, हर चीज सीख के इंसान नहीं आता है, यही सीखता है, और जब तक वो करेगा नहीं वो सीखेगा कैसे. सो यू गिव मी द चांस, आई विल प्रूव माय सेल्फ. एंड यू नो दैट वो मैं सेक्रेटरीशिप एक वोट से हारी, लेकिन उसका रिजल्ट क्या हुआ, इम्पैक्ट क्या हुआ यूनिवर्सिटी में, डीनशिप, डायरेक्टरशिप, हेड, सभी लेडीज स्टाफ को मिलनी शुरू हो गई. उनको लगा नहीं, नो दे हैव देयर पोटेंशियल. पहले उनको लगता नहीं नहीं ये क्लास लोग तक सीमित है, और इसके बाद इनको अपने घर जाना होता है, घर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज लेनी होती है. सो वन स्टेप created a lot of change in my institution.
Right. Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your response. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello,
ma'am. I'm Dr. Shenkar. Hello. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
I want to ask a question.
जी.
शीतल मैम अनम्यूट करिए आप. रोल नंबर 147 का भी माइक ऑन था. शीतल मैम फिर से अनम्यूट कीजिए. हाँ, हो गया.
Okay. Thank you, sir. How NEP will help to teachers in their teaching learning process?
Can you repeat?
How NEP will help to teachers in their teaching learning process?
Yeah, firstly, it is also focuses that a teacher can go beyond the syllabus. At least 20% he can teach the student from his own choice. He has such much choice. This much has been given to the teachers. Then through the periodical trainings, we also get trained, but new things are coming in our syllabi. So should be ready for all those trainings. We should not take it as a ये क्या मुसीबत आ गई हम पे अभी के क्या करना है. When you take the things positively, we get the positive results.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay, ma'am.
Good
Thank
evening,
you so
ma'am.
much.
Good evening, ma'am.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'm Dr. S. Vijay Lakshmi. I just want to know how NEP helps in holistic development of a student.
This education policy talks about that involvement of all the stakeholders. Yes, we can involve our students even in the framing of the curriculum, because they are the ultimate stakeholders. So we must read the NEP properly, and we should understand where we can contribute and where we can have the contribution of others. And I think the student are the, it's a क्या कहते हैं स्टूडेंट सेंटर्ड पॉलिसी, छात्र केंद्रित पॉलिसी है, और अल्टीमेट फोकस जो है स्टूडेंट है, बट जो इम्प्रेशन पार्ट है दैट लाइज इन द हैंड्स ऑफ टीचर्स. So we have to, वो जो सेट फ्रेम वर्क है, सेट रूल्स है, उससे हमें बाहर आके एक बार खुले मन से सोचना होगा कि किस
Family be healthy. Madam, unmute yourself, ma'am. Kapoor, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes. So this policy is a student-centered policy. So they can be the part of the in syllabi framing committees. They can give their inputs. So they know the better because they are the real stakeholders.
Thank
Hello.
you, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
So I think ma'am has got his answer. She got her answer.
Participant, have you got the answer from ma'am, or you want some other?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Any more queries? Yes, roll number 61.
मैम नमस्कार, मैं डॉक्टर अवस्थी बात कर रहा हूँ. हेलो.
जी.
हाँ मैडम, जो सिलेबस है उस सिलेबस में भी कोई यूनिफॉर्मिटी आने वाली है या फिर वो यूनिवर्सिटी डिपेंडेंट रहेगा, तो उसका कोई पिक्चर ऐसा क्लियर नहीं हो रहा है. और स्किल का भी जो है, तो स्किल कोई यूजीसी देने वाली है अपने को या यूनिवर्सिटी, लोकल यूनिवर्सिटी देने वाली है या क्या, उसका कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. क्या बात है?
आएंगी फिर हम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे. नया इवॉल्व करके भेज देंगे, कुछ नया भेज देंगे. इसीलिए कुछ नहीं आने वाला. हम बच्चों को इन्वॉल्व करें. हाँ, हम चाहते हैं एक इस सिलेबस में किस तरह से एक्सपेरिमेंटल, प्रैक्टिकल, एंजॉयबल बना सकते हैं. उन सब आइडियाज को आप फिर दूसरे कोलीग के साथ शेयर करके, दूसरी इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ शेयर करके, और उसको फिर आप ऊपर भेजिए. फिर देखें, आपको कोई रोक नहीं है कि हम चाह रहे हैं शायद गवर्नमेंट हम पे कुछ नया सिलेबस देगी. क्या सिलेबस हमें इवॉल्व फ्रॉम द रूट लेवल, और रूट है स्टूडेंट, ऊपर से कुछ भी थोपने वाली बात हो जाती है, यूजीसी दे देगी, फिर हम उसको इजीली एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे, हम इसमें ये कमी है वो, बट अभी हम जो नीचे से चीज आती है, जो धरातल से निकलती है, उसका ज्यादा अच्छा इम्पैक्ट रहता है। फिर ये आएगा, हम लोग इस तरफ सोचना शुरू करेंगे तो जरूर आएगा।
थैंक यू।
Any more questions?
नमस्कार मैडम। हेलो मैडम। हेलो।
हेलो।
हाँ नमस्कार मैडम।
नमस्ते।
हमें तो अभी ये एनईपी 2020 इंट्रोड्यूस करना ही है, इम्प्लीमेंट तो हमें करना ही है, इससे अभी हमारा कोई छुटकारा नहीं है। इसके लिए हम हमारी तरफ से
छुटकारा वाला,
इसके लिए हम हमारी तरफ से पूरा प्रयास करेंगे और करना ही है हमें। लेकिन इसमें
जी
एक
जी
मेजर प्रॉब्लम ऐसा आएगा मैडम कि समझो ये पॉलिसी के अंडर में बोलते हैं कि नो लैंग्वेज बैरियर, यानी जो जो स्टेट की लोकल लैंग्वेज रहेगी वो लोकल लैंग्वेज आपको पढ़ाना है या पढ़ाना चाहिए। लेकिन एक प्रॉब्लम ऐसी है कि
जी।
अ, हर स्टेट नए नए इंग्लिश स्कूल को परमिशन दे रहा है, और इधर एनईपी में स्टेट गवर्नमेंट नहीं तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ये भी कह रहे हैं कि आप लोकल लैंग्वेज का यूज करिए। और आज की कंडीशन में लोकल स्कूल यानी जो जिला परिषद के स्कूल है उसकी पोजीशन बहुत ही खराब होती जा रही है, यानी उसमें बच्चे नहीं मिल रहे। यानी गवर्नमेंट की भी पॉलिसी ऐसी चल रही है कि आप गुटखा बंदी का कायदा बना रहे, आप शराब बंदी का कायदा बना रहे, और आप शराब की दुकान को परमिशन भी आप ही दे रहे। तो इस हिसाब से अगर मैडम गवर्नमेंट ने भी जो प्राइवेट स्कूल है या इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल है उनकी भी परमिशन को कुछ लिमिटेड कर दे तो ये एनईपी की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के हिसाब से बेटर रहेगा। ये मेरी राय है मैडम, इसके ऊपर मैं आपकी राय जानना चाहूंगा।
देखिए, हर चीज हमारे सामने पड़ी होती है, लेकिन हम वही लेते हैं जो जिसमें हमारा इंटरेस्ट रहता है, जो हमें अच्छी लगती है।
यस यस
ये
यस।
नहीं इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल अभी आज से हैं, बहुत पहले से थे। हमारे पेरेंट्स ने हमको इंग्लिश मीडियम में नहीं भेजा, लेकिन ये नहीं है कि हम आज इंग्लिश बोल नहीं पाते, बोल पाते हैं।
यस यस यस।
लेकिन बात वो है कि हमें क्या, अभी हर व्यक्ति के सामने 10 चीजें रखी होती है, वो अपनी चॉइस की चीज लेता है।
यस
अब
यस।
क्लास में भी 50 बच्चे होते हैं, लेकिन 50 चोरी नहीं करते, दूसरे की चीज नहीं उठाते। तो किस
नहीं
तरह
नहीं।
से हम संस्कार वो दे पाते हैं ना बच्चे को। तो
हम्म,
क्या चीज हमें लेनी है, ये जब तक हमें क्लियर है माइंड में, क्या जब हम पेरेंट्स ये समझते कि सिर्फ इंग्लिश मीडियम में पढ़ के हमारा बच्चा बड़ा बन सकता है, तो फिर वो इंग्लिश मीडियम में भेजेंगे। अगर लेकिन रहता है कि हमें उसको सिर्फ बड़ा नहीं बनाना है, हमें उसको
हम्म,
अच्छा बनाना है, तो देन दे सेंड टू सच स्कूल जहाँ वाकई ही में
हम्म।
संस्कार युक्त एजुकेशन मिलती है।
इसके
तो
लिए
हमें तो
मैडम
ऑप्शंस खुले
या
रखने पड़ेंगे,
हाँ
हम ऑप्शंस बंद नहीं कर सकते,
हाँ हाँ।
ऑप्शन खुले रखने हैं।
यस यस।
अब उन खुले ऑप्शंस में से चूज करना व्यक्ति की अपनी इच्छा पे, हम हर चीज इम्पोज करके नहीं करवाई जा सकती, क्योंकि उसके
यस।
फिर वो बेस्ट रिजल्ट नहीं आते।
यस
जब
यस।
हम बच्चे को फ्रीडम देते हैं और फ्री हैंड देके उसको कहते हैं अच्छा कुछ भी लिखो, कोई भी चित्र बनाओ, तो वो अपनी इमेजिनेशन किस तरह से बना में भी ड्राइंग बच्चों की। सो एक फ्रीडम। अब सरकार अगर ये बंद कर दे इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल, मीडियम में पढ़ना, आप कैसे तो मतलब हम लोगों ने आंखें तो खोल रखी हैं, लेकिन अभी जागरूक नहीं हो पाए कि हमारी भलाई या हमारे समाज की भलाई, हमारी अपनी भलाई किस। मैंने पहले ही बताया कि जो इंग्लिश मीडियम में हम ओल्ड एज होम में जाते हैं ना, तो वहाँ जो पेरेंट्स हैं ना, उनके बच्चे इंजीनियर हैं, वेल सेटल्ड अब्रॉड में हैं। कोई ऐसे गरीब झुग्गी झोंपड़ी वाले व्यक्ति वहाँ, चाहे वो फ्री की भी ओल्ड एज होम हो, वो नहीं भेजते अपने माँ बाप को अपने घर से दूर।
Yes, yes, absolutely right, ma'am. Yes. Okay, thank you, madam.
Welcome.
Any more questions, participant?
सब समान चला गया साथ वाले कमरे
Any more question? So I hope that no questions are there. And it was really an interactive session with Viney Kapoor ma'am. And we are really thankful to her for sparing her valuable time and conducting this session, even though she was engaged with some of her personal work. But when yesterday I requested her that, ma'am, being a Sunday and it is an emergency, so she has extended her helping hand to this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Program and delivering such a nice talk that after the session also many queries were raised by the participants. So this is really a true success of her lecture, that participants were too much keen and interested in raising their queries. So I hope that there will be a long-term association with you, ma'am. And by reading out your biodata, we have seen that you have hold several key positions and you have worked at several committees. So your versatile experience, vast experience will be required by this UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Program in near future also. We are really thankful to you, ma'am. Unmute करिए ma'am. Unmute. Your mic is mute.
Thank you everyone. Thank you sir.
So I will share further things with you on WhatsApp, ma'am. So by the permission of our respected resource person, I declare that this afternoon session of her is over, and I would now request Gaurav Jadhav to end the cloud meeting.